we have Ian here. He's going to talk more about Copperleaf to you guys.
Hey everyone, just give me one sec. I want to make sure that I can follow the Twitch chat, so I want to get that open on my phone. What's the plan for questions and stuff? Are we just going to moderate them through there, or?
Yeah, we will help you moderate the questions on there, and
Okay.
we might have a slide IO as well if they are interested. So we'll inform you of those as well.
Okay. So, sorry, just give me one sec, everyone. This is awkward. All right, we'll go on. So thanks everyone out there for joining us for this. Oh, Jarell is in the waiting room. Hello, Jarell. So thanks for joining us for a little bit about Copperleaf. So I won't be talking too much. Jarell knows that I usually talk way too much, so I'll try.
Ian, you're an amazing talker. Don't worry.
So the agenda today should be short and sweet. Hopefully lots of time for questions if there are any in the audience. So I just wanted to quickly go over what product designers do at Copperleaf. So this is from my own lens, and it isn't exhaustive, but it's generally some presentations that I like to give just so people who might not be designers get alignment on what it is a product designer does versus, a UI designer or a UX designer. Quickly talk about how we work cross-functionally at Copperleaf. How do we connect to our clients? So what's some of the initiatives that we do there to make, the empathy a little bit deeper? And then just quickly go over what roles we're hiring about. I hope that the culture stuff comes out, like what it's like to actually work at Copperleaf comes out throughout. I didn't have any specific slides about it because I feel like culture is just something that happens naturally, and it's always a little awkward to talk about. So what do product designers do at Copperleaf? And this is just 5 categories of things that they may do in a day-to-day. So they're going to be doing user interface design, user experience design. They're going to be out there doing research with our clients. They're going to be doing information architecture. They're going to be doing UX strategy. So what are the key drivers for that product or that feature or that iteration that's going to make the entire Copperleaf product suite more impactful? So the product designers at Copperleaf support approximately 120, 140 developers, QA, automation people. So the team does a lot of really great work to drive the product, hopefully in the right direction for the market. So a UI designer is mostly known for visual design. So we don't emphasize visual design as a thing that we look for when we're hiring necessarily. It's certainly a nice to have, but we have a really comprehensive design system that manages most of the visual look and feel, most of the make it pretty type design, I guess you could say. UX design, so doing the experience design, making sure that people can actually accomplish their goals in the software, connecting qualitative and quantitative insights back to the direction of the feature, what it is we're working on, making sure the visual flow and the hierarchy makes sense so that people aren't inundated with buttons and tabs and they can actually figure out how to get from A to Z and accomplish all of their goals, and help contribute to that product vision and help execute it. So what features and iterations are required to accomplish our goals at Copperleaf? You kind of smush all those together and you get what we call a product designer. So that's my lens on it. I'm sure as you venture into design in general, you'll find that there's about 1,000 different titles that feel like they all do the same sort of stuff. Product designer to me encompasses most of the important stuff. So at the end of the day, a product designer is imagining, creating, and iterating product ideas which are going to capture value from our markets and deliver those desirable experiences out to our users. So that's the goals. So how do we work as a cross-functional team? So at Copperleaf, we utilize a product triad. So this is going to have a lot of tie-ins to Silicon Valley Product Group, Marty Kagan, Inspired, Empowered, 2 really great books that everyone in product should read. So if you imagine these three individuals, one from development, one from design, and one from product, how is it that they're all going to work together? And that's where you kind of start overlaying the feasibility, desirability, and the viability. So generally the technical folks are going to really know about how to implement things and make something work. The design is going to be pulling people towards places that people want to be. So to the desirable product experience. And our product people should be concerned about whether or not they can actually go sell something. So a lot of times with design, a designer will come up with a really compelling and delightful experience that an engineer will look at and say, that's going to take me 12 years to implement. And the product person is going to be, well, that's our business can't support that. So where can we have any compromises within that experience so that we can get something that's balanced? So we like to say when the triad is perfectly tensioned, that is where you end up in the center of this Venn diagram, which is kind of where you get the best innovation. So a triad is that leadership team within product that's creating the balance between business, the client, and the product, and what each leader will deliver. So the product lead is going to be connecting the team to the client and the broader market, and it's going to be driving our viability. This is a little bit repetitive, but it's important to reinforce. And the development lead is going to be connecting the insights from the client and the market into the solutions. So they can join in on your calls with clients and see things that you don't see from a technical perspective. So involving your engineering and your development folks within your design process is very important to help drive the right direction for your product. And of course, the design lead, we're all pretty familiar with what it is that we do. We're the empathy people. We drive empathic. Got it. Thanks, Jarell, for that little funny face. And we're going to be driving the desirability there. Every once in a while, everyone gets hung up a bit on their words. And then we're just going to quickly jump back and look at those lovely faces again. So these are three people that we actually work with at Copperleaf. So how is it that we connect all of this to our clients? So we're an enterprise, B2B. Our clients generally aren't the types that you're going to be able to go and find at the mall and do some guerrilla user testing on some prototype. You're not going to be able to go out and do a random survey with 100 people and actually get any information. So what we've created is a program called Copperleaf Labs, where we encourage our community to join and help us lead innovation. So we invite them into the different stages of discovery and design and development, and it helps us broaden our knowledge about the pain points and potential benefits to changes in our solution. It helps us improve today because we can include these people in our iterations and our validations to make sure our design iterations are directionally helping and improving their life. We co-create solutions with them. So outside of like the bleeding edge, this is going out to delivery side. We're actually working with our clients to co-create new stuff that we're kind of incubating in the back. So they help shape our future. And the early access program allows our clients to come in and use our software that's kind of leaving the development cycle as it flies off. So in B2B enterprise space, there can be complexity with how our clients actually get updates. So we do quarterly releases, and our clients actually have to tell us when they want to upgrade. So it's not your SaaS continuous delivery, continuous integration model. So there's a pretty huge feedback lag between when a feature is done and when they actually get it. So the early access program is intended to kind of squish that feedback loop so that we can be more reactive to things that need to be improved. What are we hiring right now? So at Copperleaf, I just went onto our job board. So if you search Copperleaf careers on Google, you will find our job posting board. So right now on my team, we're looking for a senior product designer. If we found the right intermediate folk or career level person, we probably would look at them. We're also hiring a senior researcher for a contract for 6 months. I don't know if I have our co-op number right, but I think it's at 13. So we have 13 co-ops throughout the entirety of Copperleaf working with us at all times. We generally have one co-op on the design team. There's a co-op on the product management team. There's obviously a bunch in the development, marketing, customer success areas. We're looking for product managers, technical product managers, team leads, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see that we're hiring a lot. We're growing a lot. We're going to be growing even more next year. So this list would pretty much be continuously being refreshed with a lot of the same stuff. And that's the part in the presentation where I stopped talking. And I open my ears for questions, if there are any.
So we have a question. It's completely not related, but there was a question saying, how do you make such amazing slides?
Just a lot of practice with the keyframing, I guess. It's a throwback to my new media days and doing After Effects. We also a bunch of these are utilizing our company's template, but most of these, like these ones I made, this one is our marketing, Keenan. So yeah, you just have to master your transitions and your chaining of events, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most people don't have that motion, especially like motion design, the transitions. It's amazing that you have that. People do overlook the power of the importance of movement and transitions, even in design in general. I feel this is great, though.
Yeah, they're expensive. I think that's why a lot of people overlook them. If you try and implement them in software, it's even more PowerPoint. At least the bar's a little bit lower.
Yeah. So that was an amazing presentation, honestly. I wish I could leave my job right now and just hop and join Copperleaf right now, self and apply. It's amazing what you guys do there. I have a question myself though. Like, can you speak a little bit more about the team culture? Like, do you guys have any sort of events or activities that you guys do outside of work? Or how do you do team bonding?
Well, I think a lot of teams, especially ones which obviously before COVID, Copperleaf wasn't really very much widely distributed. We were a Vancouver-based development organization. We're globally situated, like we have people all over the world, but they generally were on the sales and delivery side of the software, so focus more on getting our clients up and running and successful. So we haven't been able to do a ton of in-person stuff yet, like obvious for different reasons. Some people just aren't comfortable yet, even if they're double vaccinated. But the most recent thing that we did, which I think the team enjoyed a lot, was we did a Maker Day. So I actually snagged this from our friends over at Clio. I saw them promoting it on LinkedIn. So the entire product design team and the design system team, because our team actually is both, because I come from a development side of design. I actually used to work mostly in the front end development side of design. And we spent the day just working on projects. So some people made food, some people painted, others really they just took the full day just to recharge the batteries a bit. So that was a lot of fun. Other stuff that we do is we just kind of jump on games nights. So our co-op was heading back to her final semester on Friday. So a bunch of the team was doing Jackbox games, just doing screen share stuff. So, but I mean, before that, it was beers on Friday and just, normal things that you could do in a world without a pandemic.
Hopefully beer Fridays do come back. We're looking forward to that. There are more questions we have here. Couple more. So one of them is, what is something you wish you knew when you started at Copperleaf and when you started as a designer?
Yeah, how do you feel about answering that? Do you want me to go or do you want to answer it?
I can answer it, but if maybe you got a different lens too. I think for me, starting out, it's really just believing that you're actually doing well enough and not really doubting yourself throughout. Like imposter syndrome, something that will follow you for the rest of your life. Even if you're a founder or CEO, you always feel like you're not quite good enough. So I think if you ever lose that feeling, it's probably time to think about a new job because you're not being challenged enough anymore. So yeah, just being a little bit more forgiving to yourself, giving yourself space to learn and make mistakes is really, really important.
Yeah.
Go
I don't
ahead,
even.
Jared.
No, I don't know how to top that answer. That question. Oh, I got it. I think getting. Well, for me, it really depends on who you are as a designer and what your strengths are. I've learned that my strengths are community and kind of engagement and showing up. So I think that just kind of planting the seeds really early on, making sure that you talk to people, be really genuine and honest with your intentions when you're networking with people, and just kind of crafting out, like, for example, you want to work at Copperleaf or any company that you desire. Why don't you just go ask them, talk to them, be like, what do you find in a designer? How can I get to that point? What do you need from me? And then you can just talking to them is a gateway to learn how to get there. Right? But you have to talk to people. You have to get yourself out there, and it only starts with one person.
Mhm. Very well said, both of you. The next question, we got a lot more questions coming in just now. So next one is, what's your favorite aspect of working at Copperleaf?
For me, it's going to be the autonomy to grow and take risks and show that there's better ways to do things. So I guess if I roll back 5 years to when I joined Copperleaf, there literally was no design team. Like we had two product designer types. So Bob Sampson was at the company at the time, and there was another UI designer. And they really had no solid process defined for themselves. And as someone who is working on implementing the outputs of that process, I felt like we could do such a better job. So I was able to show that through a couple of quick iterations, like a 8-week design process on one of the projects we were working on. And I've grown the team up to 19 and counting. So we have 11 people in the product design team, and 4 people on the design system side, a couple leaders here and there, and 2 co-ops pretty much all the time. So that's probably the thing that shines for me. But yeah, there's just a lot of trust. Like there's no top-down micromanagement, which is super important to me.
Mhm.
I would echo what Ian says. I think that it really depends on which team you're in. But again,
Yeah.
that trust is reverberated throughout from Ian and from my manager and from my team members, and like that empowerment that we have, say in our product, and we have impact, and we can kind of curate and test and iterate and learn from each other and just change things on a dime. Like nothing's set. Each team has their own process, but we're trying to make it as standardized now towards, quote unquote, the best process. But even in that self of learning and growing and iterating in the team itself, things are changing, things are moving, things are iterating. We're not static. And I love that idea. It gets me really excited to go to work, and excited for the future, and excited to learn more new things and new processes that will challenge me that I've never experienced before. And that's really why I wake up in the morning.
Wow. I really love that, how you guys really come together as a team and grow together as a team. That's amazing. I have another question, which is, as a Canadian company, what are some barriers you face when you're trying to connect globally?
So I think one of the nice things about the leadership team at Copperleaf is that they've all done like hyper growth or really, really fast paced growth of companies before. So a lot of the leadership above me comes from a company called Creo, which was purchased out by Kodak. So they have a lot of maturity, and my 3-year-old's currently coming down the stairs. I'm a little bit upset. Arlo. You're not listening to your mom, but let's just try and quit screaming at people, okay? So they have a lot of experience in understanding the barriers there. So fortunately I'm completely sheltered from any of those struggles. But we generally, if we're moving into a region, we set up a legal entity there, and we're able to get people and the people staffed, and we scale it out. So that's my answer. We now have an assistant.
It's nice. Next question. What is your favorite part about being a product designer? And was this your original goal?
I'll go for this one, as
Yeah.
Ian has his assistant. My original, I didn't actually think I was going to be a product designer. I thought I was going to be a front end developer, because in high school I didn't know what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Like, that was my vision. I was comfortable with sitting at a 9 to 5 doing mundane work. Like, I had no aspirations for myself. But because my aunt came from Winnipeg and was like, hey, you can be a front-end developer and make this amount of money. I'm like, oh, that sounds like you can think and you can be creative. And that was my bar. That was the bar that I was working under. And then I read Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug in my second semester. And I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. That's what I want to be. I want to be a UX designer on the beach, sipping Mai Tais, like telling Nike that their app sucks. Fast forward to now, like, I did a lot of visual design at the start of my career. It was like I did that really well, but I was getting tired of it. And then I was able to do projects on the side, freelance, startups, all that kind of stuff. I just got really engaged and I wanted to learn every single day. So fast forward to now, like, I'm actually doing it.
It's definitely an inspiring story. I see myself on that same path because I initially started off as a front-end developer when I was in college, but yeah, moving more towards product designer as well. They have another question that's asked, any advice for designers going into their first interview?
I guess for me, it's being okay with not doing perfect. Like, just try not to be nervous, because when you're nervous, you generally don't perform as good as you could if you weren't nervous. They've brought you there because they believe that you could be successful. They aren't just doing it to give you a favor. So you've already done something good, and you should just have faith that you can pull it all together, and you'll do great. Everybody fails. So that's important, to just go in and just don't let your nerves make it worse than it needs to be.
Yeah, I'd echo that. I always I compare the interviewing process like dating. So you're gonna get nervous. You're gonna mess up on your first date that you ever. Ian, I know you've never messed up, but just in general, you mess up on your first date. You don't ask enough questions. You don't talk to them properly. You're a bit more shallower in your scope. You don't know your own goals. You don't know yourself when you're dating, right? But then you find out yourself. I remember when I first started interviewing. It was literally a year and a half ago. I started the first time that I actually interviewed. And I went to Forbes and I looked up top interview questions, and I wrote down notes, jotted down notes on every single question that they had there. And the one thing that stood out to me, there was 2 questions that I hated, was tell me about yourself. And I can't remember the other one. I couldn't do that properly. I sucked at it. And I felt like I sucked at it for like 2, 3, 4 interviews that I did that time. And then I gradually learned how to do it properly. And then I created a formula that's tie your experience with your value, that equals a culture fit. If you can get all that I use that for any question answer, but if you can keep that in mind and keep the kind of the dating aspect, then you can be more kind to yourself when you mess up, or you can be you can know that you actually have a lot more worth, and you can figure out that you're just trying to make a connection with a human.
I really love the correlation that you made with dating and then first job interview and getting to know about yourself. I guess everybody, we are always continuously learning a little bit more about ourselves, even every day. Is yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, thanks for that.
Mhm.
You have last two questions. Oh, last three. Well, you have another one. Maybe four questions now. Do you ever feel burnt out?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's normal.
Yeah.
Like you saw one source of it running down the stairs. There's a second source arriving on October 29th. We'll be having a baby girl. So yeah, I mean, especially with COVID and work coming to the house. What, Jarell?
It's just the first time that I heard about this, but continue.
Oh, really? I've told most people. That's hard. You don't see people in the coffee room anymore. But yeah, no, it's just like create the right barriers. Like we try and lead by example and show people that work is 40 hours max a week. Unless you get all your stuff done, and then you've worked yourself a couple days off. But yeah, it's especially easy to head towards burnout as you're trying to land that first job, that first interview. It probably feels pretty hopeless at times. You've sent out 80 applications and you've heard back from 3 or whatever it is. So you just got to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to recharge your batteries, go for walks, do stuff that you actually enjoy doing. As much as I love design, I prefer a lot of other stuff more. Like I don't want to work all the time. Design is work. So
I agree, Ian. That's why I'm trying to do painting and watch TV and just like basically get away from talking about design outside of work.
Yeah, you gotta chill.
Yeah, chill. And it really helped because I was feeling this pretty heavily back. Was it June, Ian, or like was it April or June?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. I was feeling burnout kick in, and I've never really experienced that to that degree. And I just talked to Ian, and in 5 minutes, he's like, "Just chill." It's like, okay, Ian. I need someone to tell me to do that. I feel like my brain really needs someone to like shoot a cannon to my mind so that my mind keeps that thing repeating, and I can use, I don't know why, but I was like, okay, I'm just going to use Ian as this, like blame Ian, be like, okay, Ian wants me to chill out, I'm not going to do anything. Like for some reason that was useful for my brain, so I just kept doing that. Like I created a excuse.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, like especially with the balance with work. If you don't feel like work's a safe place, you're going to be defensive there.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling burnt out, you should feel safe enough to tell people that you're feeling burnt out. So hopefully wherever you end up where you're working, you have a boss that actually cares, and they're really invested in you as a human and not just as a piece of the puzzle to make their product or their business more successful. So if you treat people right, they do that for you without you having to worry about it.
Yeah, that's yeah. Congrats on the new baby. Yeah.
Oh, geez, thanks. Yeah, no, it's gonna be tiring.
And Jarell, it's nice to like be a like for Jarell, like how he has you to tell him to just take it easy and just chill. Like, I mean, coming that from somebody else, having somebody to say that and then listen, I feel like is worth a lot more than telling yourself to chill as well. Like everybody's human. We all face burnout in our own way. But yes, we have questions keep on coming. It's quite funny. I said 4 questions last time, but now there are 4 questions still. And I'm not sure how much time we have.
I can do another 11 minutes, and then I gotta take kid to soccer. So if we got extra time, I can do that.
Let me try to filter some of this. How do you personally overcome imposter syndrome? I think you talked about that already. This one's interesting. Has there ever been a time where you felt that the direction of your product was going was straying away from company's values?
Yeah, I guess like that's interesting. I think at Copperleaf we've done a really good job at trying to keep like the vision of things really crystallized in everyone's minds so that they can really, you know, head in the right direction. But yeah, no, I've had experiences in the past where you have a stakeholder who has a lot of equity within the direction of where you're headed, and they can push or pull you towards things that you might not agree with. And ways to get around that is just to try and anchor directionally with insights from clients or data that you can actually reinforce. Because if you're trying to counter opinion versus an opinion, you don't have as much weight as if you can throw some actual insights behind your opinion. But no, Copperleaf's vision is crystallized, and it's certainly clear where we're headed and what it is we need to do to get there. But at other experiences in my life, yes.
Very, very cool. Is there like I'll just go through I'll go through these questions quickly. Is Whiteboard Challenge common on interviews currently?
Every single one. If you make it to a whiteboard, they want to hire you.
It's true. I think there's a person saying, I think I can speak for a lot of designers since we often work remotely, but how do you separate your work and life? Do you have a lot of late nights?
Me personally, no. And one of the main reasons for that is once I am off my computer, I'm chilling with my family, and by the time Arlo's asleep, it's 9:30 and I'm exhausted, so I'm going to go to sleep. Obviously, there is going to be exceptional circumstances where weekends might be a thing. Events like this kind of have to make the family make a sacrifice to allow you to do this kind of stuff. And there could be projects that come up that just require a little bit of extra attention, but you make sure that you bank those moments and you take them back for yourself later. So I don't like generally doing stuff without compensation, whether it be material or just, you have to get it back. It's got to be balanced.
Cool.
So I guess the one thing with just to jump on that for Copperleaf with design, all the product developments in kind of the same North American time zone. Most of us are West Coast. So we don't do a ton of like working with European teams or like Asia or Australia or anything like that. So it's pretty simple to keep core hours. So one of the mantras is that you have to operate within 4 or 5 core Canadian hours. I don't know if you can hear that now, but my son is now singing ukulele upstairs.
That's beautiful.
I'll speak to this as well. Yeah, basically what Ian said. Like I've never felt pressured nor have actually like worked past the normal working hours. I've never done that in Copperleaf specifically. I have done it in other companies I worked for, but that's usually an agency, more of an agency mindset, and that's kind of you have to do what you got to do because you have a deadline. Where at Copperleaf, from the start, from recruiter talking to me like, oh yeah, we don't have, you don't really have deadlines. You're not running under the gun. You have to be more strategic with your decisions, and sometimes that trying to find that strategic decision can take a month. It can take 2 weeks, but you're saving so much time for developers, and you're creating way more value if you take your time and actually work through the problem and talk to users.
Yeah, like one thing to throw out there is that the overworking, like people needing to work more than 40, isn't a symptom that is completely missing in Copperleaf. We've been really fortunate that in the design side that we've been able to create really clear barriers and set ourselves up to be able to have reasonable deadlines and reasonable amounts of work. We've been able to, for every cross-functional product team, there is a dedicated designer. So that's really unique. I don't think that that's a normal. Our ratio is about 1 to 7, 1 designer per 7 developers. So that's something that I told the CEO or the CTO 4 years ago was our ratio that we're going to aim for. We've kept it there, and that's a really important part of the balance. Otherwise, you're going to have way too much work. You're going to be supporting too many people. So it takes intent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And just a bit more on that, like get out of your house, go to a coffee shop. I've been doing that lately. It really helps you from like I do a morning walk, half an hour. I'm flexible when I kind of get into the office because I don't want to force it. I want my mindset to be right. I want to be able to jump in, head gun into the work properly. So I want to make sure that my morning routine is sacred, right? And I keep a very sacred morning routine. So having routines is really important, and getting out of your house and not rolling right into work is super duper important.
Yeah, that's all very, very important, great points that it's great to follow for everybody here, working from home, studying from home, or doing whatever at from home. But yes, I think that's all we have for you guys, from you guys. It's right. That's it.
Sweet.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for having such an amazing panel. And I think there's a lot more that were touched about Copperleaf and outside of Copperleaf about you guys. And yeah, everybody here who's watching, feel free to drop any text or like want to talk to Jarell or Ian in the chat, on the Discord chat. Feel free. They'll be here. Like sooner, if they are late, they will get to your questions eventually.
Yeah, we have the Ask Copperleaf Discord channel as well. So just tag us in it, and we'll be able to get there right away.
Awesome. Right, and
Jarell will. I'll probably be at soccer practice.
Priorities.
Take care. Have fun with that. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Take care. Thanks, Joe. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.